What's up, guys? We're talking tight quads, more so hip flexors. And a lot of us sit through majority of the day. And if we're always just sitting there in hip flexion, we want to be in extension at some point in time. And even for me, if I sit down and we're there on a podcast for 3 hours, or I have like real computer work where I actually think, I tend to sit more than I stand. And I find myself just kind of in that seated position more often than not. And one of the things I do is I try to get up, obviously, out of my desk and try to get my knee actually behind my hip so I can get into extension. But I found a little drill here on the bench that helps me out a ton, and maybe it can do the same thing for you guys if you have access to any kind of bench. If you have kind of an old school one like ours, that'd be great. If it actually has the split, I find this to kind of be the perfect stance for me, and it's not real complex. I've shown the couch stretch on here against the wall, which I love the variation, also using it with the bench. But even on here, what I'll do is I'll come down, I'll just kind of pop my knee onto the bench, and I'll just kind of sink down into this stance here. And I'll just try to pull this hip down. So I'm squeezing the right glute. It's almost like I'm in, almost like what a split squat stance would be. My body's somewhat vertical. If you guys want to lean forward, it's fine too, whatever you feel comfortable. I don't want you to jam into the back, but I'm squeezing my right glute here as my knee is just kind of stuck in this crease, and I'm almost trying to just drive this right hip into the mat. And then from there, I can just do a little internal kind of external rotation, just a little flossing back and forth. Again, it doesn't look like a lot. It's nothing super complex, but for me, this feels good. I can do a little rotation as I play with it. I can kind of turn into myself. I can turn away. There's no wrong answers here, but I do feel like this does help me loosen up. I'll do a couple minutes on each side. I'll come down, same thing. Pop the knee in, really drive forward. Try to test, squeeze that left glute, drive that hip into the ground, and again, just kind of rotate and play around with it and see what feels good, what's tight. Maybe spend 2-3 minutes aside, and I'm good to go. So again, if you find yourself sitting a ton, you guys have access to a bench, you want to get loose, give this a shot, let me know how it goes.